RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right. How's it going? How's it sound? How's it look? I know. I got some cat hair on my shirt because the producer's sleeping over there. All right. He's not feeling well. His allergies are acting up, and he scratched his chin really bad, so he had to have a cone, and now he's not well. He's grumped. He's grumped out like me, like I've been since 1967. So welcome to the club, Tara Jr., the producer. All right, tonight I'm fixing the mic because we're gonna have a guest. We're gonna have Thom Hartmann on the show. Thank you, Jim. All right, great. Jim says it sounds good. Okay, good. We want to be on our best behavior when Tom gets here because, that's Thom Hartmann. And God, that's kind of cool. He's coming on the show, and I really want to talk about what his latest book. I don't know, when did he write all these books? I can barely tweet some days. I don't understand it. I'm so busy I can't put 30 goddamn 2 characters together. And he's got another book, not only this book, The Hidden History of Big Brother in America, there's another book being edited as we speak. He puts me, I'm ashamed of myself. I don't know why he's coming on here. I feel like shit already. I'm just kidding. I have to stop cursing. I know I say that every show, but I mean it this time. I mean it. Thank you. All right, we already have the chat room filling up with the greatest people on earth. Only the best, as Trump would say. And we have the best, but we really do have the best chat room in all of liberal media. Yes. Richard W. says, get plenty of rest, producer. He's sleeping. He's out like a light. So hopefully, because I gave him a drug. Nothing. I gave him gabapentin. For the doctor told me to give it to him. So he could rest and stop scratching his face. He really did a number on himself. So I hate that. And I hate putting the cone on him because I feel his pain. I can't deal with it, and it's hard. And he's very upset by it. He's like walking around grumped out. All right, so we meet here every time I can have some goddamn time, and I'm sorry I didn't have a show so far this week because of my schedule it's been tight, my schedule, a couple of days for the past week. So yeah, become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin, and we can have a show every day. And like Thom Hartmann, and then maybe I'll have time to write 50 books. So Tom, I'm gonna call him at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So, all right. Well, hopefully that all goes well, and I will contain myself. I want to show my new shirt. Fascism equals death. Yeah, I do want to talk to Tom about his book, of course, because that's why he's coming on the show. But also, I want him to talk me off the ledge. Frankly, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it all. I saw Joe Manchin on Morning Joe again. What is he doing on every goddamn show constantly? Still, this guy. He's the guy. He's the king. And someone asked him. One of the pundits asked him about, and I thought that was pretty good. Asked him about the fact that because of him, our child tax credit that lifted 40%, that raised, lowered childhood poverty by 40%, because of him, now childhood poverty is back up to disgusting levels. It is disgusting, but more disgusting than it used to be. Now, since you know what I'm trying to say, and also hit him with the statistics about the appalling state of West Virginia. And he seemed to stumble a little bit about it. How he was like humming, but you know, what I want to do is get the inflation under control and get people back to where, you know, the same old bull. It's always our fault, you see, not the system. The system's fine, right? The fact that 80% of the American people live paycheck to paycheck, and the majority can't save $400, 1/3 can't retire. You know, that's on you, booby. The system's doing fine. As evidenced by the fact that Joe Manchin can smoke a big fat cigar off of his house yacht while ignoring his constituents who are so desperate they're canoeing up to his back door to get him to listen. Oh, but if they were benefactors, right? If they were rich oligarchs, he'd have them on his yacht. He'd host them. Don't bring a canoe. I'll send a car. And a couple of hookers, high-class hookers with a heart of gold. And then you can beg, what did Joe Manchin do? He begged them that if you give my buddy a job, he'll vote the way you want him to vote. And, of course, that doesn't get any attention. It never does. It didn't get attention at the time, and it continues to be, oh, well, this is the way the system goes. And, you know, watching what's going on in Ukraine, I think it's great. But let's I mean, it's not great that, of course. What's great is the spirit of democracy and the fact that they really are shaming, I think, the Western civilization in a way, shining a light on what it means to be free. What is freedom? Do we have to be is being under the thumb of dictators and oligarchs, that's not freedom. Not being able to say no war. This makes me it's beyond aggravated. The words escape me because you think about it. There's one dude, one sick-ass oligarch, greed-centered ghoul, a sociopath, making decisions, bombing people on bread lines now, right? Hospitals, killing pregnant women who, the someone who's about to give birth, someone who's pregnant, and before all of the horrors unfolded, there's hope and possibility and dreams for your child, and the life that you hope that they will live. And here comes a sociopath because he doesn't like the fact that democratically elected people through their representatives. Well, the representatives of the people might want to join something, NATO. It's like what happens here too on different scales. That's the way it is when you want to join a union. You have it's always about the greed-centered ghost of the Gilded Age, and it really is. We're nothing but commodities, and I just have to ask, how much longer are we going to take it? Yeah, I guess the word is enraged, Winston, on the chat. I wonder, but it's like, why we let, again and again and again, we let this happen. We let people, but, I mean, I'm processing it still. Because I think about Trump. We're on a precipice in this country. We just might lose democracy, and that's where we will be. They're already telling us what we can read, what we can talk about, defining the necessary steps to having a more perfect union as an assault on freedom, because you're gonna make a little kid feel bad. Always under the guise of benevolence. You know what I mean? I don't know how much longer. You see, living in a democracy requires strength and maturity. A maturity that most of the American people, I think most people in general, do not have. That's why it has to be cultivated and encouraged. That's why you have to teach kids. You have to teach the younger generations about how tenuous republics are, and how dangerous it is to fall prey to the divisive rhetoric of megalomanias. Or what's the word? Megalomaniacs. Trump, the lies never stop, and I want to talk about this with Tom. That's why I'm a little bit kind of just killing time. 2 minutes. I'm kind of nervous. Because I'm also nervous that will the phone work? So we have a backup. If the Skype doesn't work, we'll get Tom on the phone. But before, let me just say thank you, Winston. Winston. Well, thank you, Winston, for chatting. But thank you, Richard W., for your super chat. Another great show, Tara. Thank you, and thank you, Jim, for your super chat. And Jim says hi. And Jim is also. He is right now, he's the only moderator we have in the chat. So behave yourself. Jim is, I hear Jim speak softly but carries a big stick. That's what she said. All right, maybe I should see if I can get Tom on the air right now. Calm down, Devlin. Breathe. All right, so let's see. Ba-da-beep-bop-boop. La-da-dee-da-doo. Add participant. Boo-doo-ba-ba-boo. Let's see. Thom Hartmann. Add. It's a minute early. We'll see if he's around. Tom.
Hey, Tara.
All right. Can you see me? Oops, I shut my camera off.
No.
All right, you hold on. Let me see if I can. Hold on. You can see me, Tom? No, you don't see me. All right. Why is that? Let me see. Hold on. Here we go. That's why. I had the camera shut off. That's why.
There you go.
It's always the technical. I mean, it's a one-man band unless the cat jumps on the keyboard. So then we have my producer. So thank you, Tom, for hanging out and joining. Once again, we were just discussing before you got on the air here about another book. I know you have another book in the pipeline too. You have not only your Big Brother book, but a new. How do you do it? I just have to ask. I know I ask all the time, but I can barely tweet or post an Instagram some days. But I don't. When do you write? Seriously, you have a show.
I write. Yeah, seriously. I write every afternoon from 1 till 5, or sometimes 1 till 6. And if you write,
right,
a typical book. These small books are 35,000 words each. So if I can write 1,000 words a day, which is about 3 pages maybe, and, I'm writing a book every month. I mean, and I don't write that fast.
That's great.
It's not if you just plug away at it, it's not that big a deal.
That's true.
It just requires.
Right. You just have to make that commitment to sit down at those hours. What's that?
It's like cleaning the refrigerator.
Right. Exactly. You make that commitment. Yes. You make the appointment with yourself. I'm not alone in saying that. I'm glad you're doing it, because we need the message out there. This is one of the things we talk about on the show, is that the reason we're in this boat is because we don't own the message, and this is great for the just getting the conversation out there. And also, this book, The Hidden History of Big Brother in America, I have to tell you, I feel like I know a lot of things, but this was something I wasn't 100% aware of, and so I really appreciate you bringing it to my attention, and because it's almost like it's invisible, this ubiquitous, Big Brother is watching, and you don't even know it half the time. Yeah. So can you talk about this?
Right. Is to have it, what do you call it? Whoops, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Is to have it be. So what did you want me to speak to?
Well, just tell me about the book itself. So what made you, what brought this all to your attention, and really just what is the book about?
Sure. I wanted to write the book because I felt that there are concerns that we should all be sharing at a couple of different levels. One is with regard to government. There was a lot of concern around 2003 around the Patriot Act, or 2002, I guess. And that kind of died away. There was a lot of concern when Trump ended net neutrality. It kind of died.
Right.
There have been a number of milestones that had to do with the government's ability to surveil us, although net neutrality arguably was more corporate. And so I wanted to talk about that. Now, what is privacy, and why is privacy a word not in the Constitution, and all that kind of stuff. But then also there's this whole corporate surveillance level, and there's been some really great books written about surveillance capitalism and digital war as the new form of warfare and those kinds of things. But and I don't know, I bought 30 or 40 books in preparation for writing this one, just to see what other people were writing. And I couldn't find a good, tight, little concise summary of those things. And so that's why I wrote this book.
Because you're talking about net neutrality. That's something that fell by the wayside. I think a lot of people think, because we won that battle, that we have net neutrality. But Ajit Pai, as you mentioned in the book, he was a Verizon lobbyist and did Verizon's bidding and overturned it. It still hasn't been rectified yet. We haven't done anything about that. It just feels like one of the millions of little chipping away at our freedom in general.
It's true. We're the only developed country in the world where your internet service provider, the company that brings the internet into your home, can literally sit there and watch everything you're doing. They can record everything you're doing, every keystroke, the page you visit, how fast you scroll down the page, which pictures slow you down, which ads you stop at, every email you send out, every email you receive. It's all there for your internet service provider or your cell provider, all of that stuff on the internet. And, in any other country, to get access to that, you need a warrant. And that was the law here in the United States until 3 years ago, when Donald Trump put Ajit Pai in charge of the FCC, and Ajit Pai said, hey, screw it, we'll give it to big corporations, and they can monetize everybody. It's still, illegal to tap a phone. You can't, they both used to be covered under Title II of the Telecommunications Act. This goes back to the 1920s. That, if the phone company or if your next door neighbor or the police want to listen in on your phone conversations, they have to get a warrant from a judge. But now, and it used to be the case with the internet, if they wanted to track you on the internet, but now if they want to just observe everything you're doing, all they have to do is be the company that brings the internet into your house and just push the record button.
Right, and that is frightening. Frankly, it really is. But what are we going to do about it? What is anything being done about it? I know that you're kind of making common ground with Josh Hawley, which yeah.
Josh Hawley wrote a book about this, and the first chapter is actually a really good chapter. It's a good summary of how bad the situation is. Most of the rest of the book is talking about how liberals are going to turn America into the Soviet Union. Hey, let's give the devil his due.
Right.
At least raising the issue, and he's talking to Ron Wyden about it. I think that the ISPs, we haven't seen any. Since Ajit Pai destroyed what they refer to as net neutrality, I would call internet privacy.
Yeah.
Since Ajit Pai destroyed our internet privacy, there hasn't been a large leak or attack on anybody that's gotten any kind of publicity where an internet service provider used the information that they had acquired from being an internet service provider to blackmail somebody or harass or harm somebody in some way. Most of this stuff is happening kind of on the down low in the background in these channels where it's almost impossible to get access into them, where these data brokers are buying and selling information back and forth to each other, and it's all fairly well encrypted. And it doesn't pop up until you try to rent an apartment and 12,000 data points on you.
Right. Wow.
But
right.
I think probably what it would take for Americans to start freaking out about it would be for something like that, some kind of terrible, big data dump or a whistleblower, or one of these companies to just go total Putin, and try to take down somebody that they don't like.
Right. And that is one of the hallmarks of fascism, is to make these laws and then subjectively apply them to your enemies. And
as Trump promised he was going to do, and tried to do on multiple occasions.
So to have this law, to have our privacy so commodified in general, and really it speaks to as far as everything else that's going on. I just feel like everyone is a commodity now, and maybe it's always been that way, and I was a bit naive, but I thought that democracy is supposed to be kind of the antidote to that, to the bad actors abusing us. But all over the world, you see how autocracies are on the rise. And I know in your book you mention China. Now that's a frightening, where the frightening world that they live in, where they're being raided by their behavior. Is that am I correct with that? Or
the Chinese social credit system, it's not yet ubiquitous in China, but they've rolled it out, and you can raise your social credit score by certain behaviors, praising the government on social media, giving blood, or engaging in generally positive stuff, cleaning up the freeway, and you can lose or lower your social credit score by playing loud music in public, or getting arrested for being drunk, or even being observed publicly drunk, or not doing well in school, or not showing up on time for a doctor's appointment. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that'll hurt it. And these scores will define what school you and your kids can get into, what part of town you can live in, what kind of job you can have, how quickly a doctor will make an appointment to see, what kind of room you get in a hospital. I mean, it's getting more and more pronounced, shall we say.
Wow. I mean, and the thing is, what's happening, I feel, here is sort of like the telecommunications companies are not going to roll out complete, they're not going to all of the sudden overnight throttle your internet speed or charge you a toll to, let's say, broadcast the Tarabuster show or whatever. But they'll do it because they have these laws in their back pocket, and it'll be like the frog in the water, sort of like how communications in general were consolidated over since 1996. Since it didn't happen overnight, we went from 50 giant telecommunications company. 50 companies owning the media in general, and now we have 6. And the laws about cross ownership, where you couldn't have a radio station and a television station and a newspaper in the same market, those are gone. And the American people, I really feel that this is why we're on the verge of fascism. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about that? I know you're very optimistic, more than me, that's for sure.
Well, I do. If the Republican Party is able to seize power in 2022 and 2024, that the party has by and large become an authoritarian cult,
Yes.
which is what happened with the National Socialist Party in Germany in 1932. And before that,
Right.
arguably, but when they came to power, 33 actually. It's happened in a number of other countries as well over time. And I would argue it's what's happened with Fidesz in Hungary. It's what has happened with Putin's. If the Republicans seize that kind of power, and there's a chance that they will, then I think we're going to be in for a rough, probably generation, probably a couple of decades.
Oh my God. That's not good. Well,
no, it's not. It's not. We need to tell the truth about it. We need to wake people up.
Yes.
They need
yes.
vote this fall.
Right. But that's the thing. How can we overcome all of the Republican gerrymandering, voter suppression, like all of that? And they'll see. And it's also because they've ceded the ground with this, the election was stolen. So it almost like it diminishes the fact that when they steal it, that, it will just be a bunch of people yelling once again that the election is stolen, and it's both sides, of course. There they go. It's, I don't know, Tom. Reading your book, I was like, oh, this too. You know what I mean? It felt like, what do we do about this too? Because corporations and the government really are, they have treated, it's like what FDR said. Government is an appendage of the affairs of billionaires now, and they're transnational corporations. That's it. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, especially when it feels like we are overcoming, like, for example, a Joe Manchin and all of the misinformation of the corporate media that normalizes it. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that there are a number of things that we need to do. We just talked a moment ago about net neutrality and the potential abuse that exists because of Donald Trump and Ajit Pai. That needs to be fixed. Another thing that needs to be fixed, and this is an area where I think Josh Hawley and I agree, Josh Hawley and Ron Wyden agree, is that there is this notion that your home is your castle, which is the castle doctrine literally goes back to the 1300s, really to the 1100s in a big way, but as being called that to the 1300s British common law, that your home is your castle and you are responsible for what happens in your home. So if you put a sign out in front of your house, Tara, tonight that says big party at midnight, everybody welcome, and you threw the front door open, and a bunch of really skeezy people showed up, and about 2 o'clock in the morning you've got somebody in the back room beating somebody bloody, and somebody else being raped in the backyard, and somebody in the kitchen who's selling heroin, and people in the living room shooting up, and the police walked in, you would be arrested too,
right,
along with all the people, because you allowed it to happen in your house. You are as responsible, or not fully as responsible, but a shared responsibility with all of them. And like I said, this goes back 1,000 years. And so in 1980-81, Nigel Peacock and I started running forums for CompuServe. And we had about 30 people who worked for us. They paid us pretty good money. We were contractors. And the reason why was because if somebody said something on CompuServe, if they were, swapping pornography or selling weapons or something like that, CompuServe had liability. And so they paid us to make
Wow.
sure that all the messages were clean and that all the people were reliable, and it was a safe space
Yes.
for folks. Then came 1996. That was the year CompuServe stopped paying us, and the reason they stopped paying us was because that was the year that the Telecommunications Act passed with Section
Right.
230, which said, we're still going to keep it that if you invite people into your home and they commit crimes, no big, that you are responsible for that. Or if you invite, if Home Depot, lets people commit crimes in Home Depot, they're
Right.
responsible for it if a business does that. But so if you build your home or your business not on brick and mortar on the street, or not where you live, or an apartment building, but instead on the internet, if that's where your home is, post 1996, all kinds of things can happen. I mean, you can traffic human beings, you can plot revolutions,
Right.
you can try to overthrow the government, you can
Yeah.
sell weapons, you can do whatever you want. And the company that owns the house that invited all the people in has absolutely no liability and can never be prosecuted, no matter even though they knew what's going on,
Right.
even though they did nothing about it, no liability. And that's nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just plain old flat out nuts. It led to an explosion of activity on the internet. I would argue that a lot of that activity was not actually a good or desirable thing. And on top of that, it made Mark Zuckerberg one of the richest
Right.
men in the world.
Yeah.
Fast.
A sociopath, right? I mean,
Well, I don't know. If it's
yeah, I
not,
mean,
but I
I'm just
know
diagnosing him
the
from, yeah.
the medium kind of draws them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we are in. I believe that, and what you mentioned in the book, I think that if not for these rules, Donald Trump might not be president because of the way they flooded Facebook with lies, nothing but lies about
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton and trying to, especially micro-targeting soft Democrats, so whatever they call them, the people who
Yep.
could take her or leave her, and then inundate them with lies, nonstop.
Right, and say basically, the main message of the Trump campaign in 2016, and Ted Cruz used Cambridge Analytica in 2018 too. So both of them did this. It didn't, the exposés didn't come out until 2019. But what they did with the Trump campaign, on one day they had over 150,000 different variations on a single ad, and those variations were tweaked in a way that would just grab you,
Right, right.
Who you are and what you care about and what you're afraid of and what you want and what you love and all those things, and they just hooks in. And the main message that was directed to black people was, the Hillary Clinton is calling you a super predator message,
Right.
and with that little old from the 90s. And the main message that was delivered to what they referred to as weak Democratic voters, that is to say, weak loyalty to the party. People Republican or sometimes just skip elections, was both parties are corrupt, everybody is
Right.
terrible, don't even bother, don't even bother. And they actually drove down the vote they just looked in the book. I talk about how they just looked at Milwaukee. They drove that vote down by 50,000 people,
Right.
and Trump only carried by 27,000 people.
Right.
I mean, just that one time, the voter suppression effort actually worked. So, the power of this stuff is huge.
Right. Right, because human beings are storytellers. We want to be heard. We want to connect, and that's why it is evil, in my opinion, to lie and manipulate people like that. To tell them, for example, I've talked about it on the show. I went to one of Mike Malloy's gatherings. In Georgia, they had a little Malloy gathering. And I was talking to a young woman and I was like, who believes this stuff? And she was like, my mother does. And she lives in New Jersey. And that was when they were going on about caravans coming to kill everybody. And she said, my mother actually thinks that a caravan filled with immigrants is going to kill her. And I've tried to talk to her about it. I've said it's crazy. And she still believes it. And to me, it's like malpractice. It's political. It's human malpractice. You don't take people who are, whatever. They're not Maybe that's Swift. I don't know what their problems are, but they believe this stuff. You don't. It's like it's like malpractice on somebody's soul, and you're robbing them of a peaceful life, so you can gain money and power. To continue to gain more money and power. So, who's there? I hear your dog in the background. So it's.
Oh yeah, we have two of them downstairs. They're loud.
No, it's fine. I mean, we have cats in here, so they're constantly interfering with the show. They're part of the show, really. So, but yeah, I mean, this is you're talking about both sides. Don't bother. That in general is kind of the corporate media's whole game. I don't know if you've everything is both sides. Well, I mean, we know that that's the way the Republicans roll, but they constantly validate it as if, for example, they'll in one story they'll talk about how dangerous Trump is, and he is. And then the next story will be how the 50% think he would be better on Ukraine or something. You know what I mean? It's like the mixed messages of Anyway, well, you look like maybe you have something to do.
What do you
It's
mean?
okay. No, I don't know. I think so. Is someone talking to you in the background? Is that Louise?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
Maybe
I'm
I don't know. I thought you were saying something to somebody in the background. That's fine. So,
speaking to you.
oh yeah. Well, I guess there's a little bit of a lag, but anyway, to me, I feel I guess I don't know. I need a little bit more optimism, and this is why I do the show, frankly, because I do believe that, and why your show is so important too, because you reach so many people. But it is about messaging. Like, for example, just on this week's Meet the Press, which drives me insane, but Bill Barr was on Meet the Press, and Chuck Todd asked him about, you say that Trump's a liar, that he's a danger, but you say you will still vote for him if he runs. And Bill Barr's like, well, the liberals are the most dangerous to humanity. And he didn't even ask, like, in what way? Do you have an example of this? But to throw it out there is basically validating it as truth. Oh, okay, well, yeah, both sides are just damn evil and can't be trusted, and they're both going to destroy the country. So how do we, I don't know, how do you think this is going to survive? I don't know if we could survive this kind of greed, and it's really cynicism, frankly. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that in the end, typically good wins.
Right.
Sometimes it takes generations or centuries.
Right, exactly. I just hope I'll be alive to see it, right?
We've had a taste of it, and the world
I know.
has had it, and it's going to be hard to go back. And I think this is one of the lessons that Mr. Putin is learning right now as well.
Right, that's true.
And domestically inside Russia, not just getting his butt kicked in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
So generally speaking, I am optimistic. You look at the cycles of history. We go through these roughly 80-year cycles, it seems, where we have every 80 years we have a depression and a war, and then things get afterwards. The depression and the war period are horrors, but afterwards things improve. Whether it was through the Great Depression of 1770, followed by the War of 1776, or 80 years later. The Depression of 1856, or the Great Panic of 1856, followed by the Civil War, or 80 years later, the Republican Great Depression, followed by the World War II. But at each stage along the way, major positive changes happen, and now we're 80 years out from World War II. In fact, Zelensky referenced that in his speech. He said, here 80 years later, and I'm like, wow.
I know, right? Yeah.
And so I am concerned for my children and grandchildren who are inheriting a world that my generation in particular, and the generation immediately before mine, but particularly my generation and the one just behind mine, really screwed up. I mean, we knew in the 80s that global warming was happening. In the 80s and a lot of us were yelling about it. I mean, I wrote a book last in Sunlight in early 1990. Right. And we knew in the 80s that the way that we were doing agriculture was poisoning us and poisoning the earth. I mean, we've known a lot of these things for a long time, and finally we're starting to take them seriously. And the thing that has prevented that, by and large, has been corruption. It's the corruption of the Supreme Court allowing billionaires and industry politicians. It's just corruption. And at some point, we're going to break through, I think. I mean, that would, I don't know if you've been catching Petro Poroshenko, the former president of Ukraine, on TV. He's a lot of CNN hits. And, he was a reasonable guy. The guy before him was Yanukovych. Yanukovych was the Putin stooge who Paul Manafort, got in as president. And then he had the revolution and they came out, and then Poroshenko came in. And Poroshenko was more like a kind of a Mitt Romney type, I mean, he handed government contracts to his friends, and he was corrupt, but small time corrupt.
Right. Yeah.
And Zelensky's whole sales pitch for his candidacy was he was the anti-corruption candidate.
Right.
So this progression happening in Ukraine. I'm hopeful we can see a similar progression here.
Yeah. Well, that's watching Ukraine is really like the spirit of 1776 to me. It's they are proving how precious freedom really is, and what freedom is. Not the freedom to, I don't know, not give a crap about anybody else but yourself. That's what, these people are literally pledging their lives, fortunes, and sacred honor to each other and standing together. They're not giving up. That's, I can't even, I'm a big crier, so when I was watching Zelensky this morning, I was like bawling. Just the whole, the bravery. Look at me. Where's my cat? I can't. The people on the show are always like, oh, there she goes again. But I guess, I have so much hope for the country. I have, not hope, I have, it's the promises in our founding documents that, and all of the the work that needs to be done this is what makes it so frustrating, because everything that needs to happen in order to have a functioning democratic republic that works for all is being screamed down, really. Like, we need to have that conversation about race. That's why Republicans don't want to have it, because they'd rather keep us divided. I mean, it's a real, and, it's divide and conquer. But the Democrats, another thing I'm really interested is in history, as you are too. And I love Roman history, especially the late Republic, because I feel like it holds so many warnings for today. And one of the things I always think about is when, especially because it was the Ides of March yesterday, right? Am I right? Yes. Yes. So I don't know what day it is sometimes, but the reason, so when they assassinated Caesar, when, it was all for the Republic, but they didn't assassinate Mark Antony as well, because they were they were proving that they had these high-minded ideals. But ultimately, it was Antony and, his teaming up. He had none of those ideals. He was like, whatever, give me power. He was, loud, drinking. He didn't care about the high-minded ideals of anything. And that's what bit them in the ass, ultimately, because he was the one that defeated. He was a great general. They teamed up with later who became Augustus, and they defeated the armies of the Republic. And I feel that that's the Democratic Party today. They model good behavior for the Republicans. And the Republicans, they don't care about good behavior. They don't care about the high-minded ideals of the Republic. You know, they are playing for keeps. And if that means putting an autocrat in charge, if that means corrupting the Supreme Court or every court, you know, I mean, all of that in itself is, we should have been screaming about that. And I don't mean us, because we've been screaming about it. I mean the people on corporate media. When they start, it wasn't just erasing or violating a norm. It's they were literally following the autocrat playbook by corrupting the courts. Because that's what the Nazis did, you know, when someone went in front of the courts for killing a communist or something, it would be null and void. And it doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly. And people just get used to it because, you know, I guess they like, I don't know what it is, really. I mean, as far as, I know there's that 35% of authoritarians in general, but you know, what is it, what's your neighbor's excuse? You know, like, I know people that voted for Trump. They're like, oh, I just thought needed change or something different. And I don't know, it's yeah, we're getting something different, all right. But it's not democracy. It's certainly, it scares me, frankly, because you see it happening in other NATO countries like Hungary. And then you have, you know, Tucker Carlson normalizing this. And then we get the both sides. I mean, to me, I feel like there's so much work to do. But that's probably why you write a book a week. But, you know, I don't know. And I try to do as many shows, but we have our work cut out for us, I feel. And especially, you know, as far as thankfully we could still do a show on like, I don't need to pay a toll to do this show yet or something like that, you know. But they're definitely have us, I think, really over a barrel in a lot of ways. And if we don't own the message, I think it's not gonna last. So, because they can define it, they have redefined it. You know, they've turned patriotism from pledging your life, fortune, and sacred honor to each other into, you know, hugging a flag, basically, and wearing a shirt with some eagles on it. That's it, right? I mean, how can you last like that? And selfishness, too. Right. I feel like I'm talking to my shrink now. This is what I talk to my shrink about, believe it or not. He's probably like, oh, dear. You know, most people, and that's the other thing, most people are like talking about, you know, I want a boyfriend or whatever the hell, you know. It's like, and people just want to live their lives. Yeah, we're all here for this blip of I mean, I'd rather be doing a show about cats or something like that. You know what I mean? Or right? It's not about fighting fascism, frankly. Like the people of Ukraine. You see, you know, I can relate because I'm thinking, what would I do if all of a sudden I had to leave in a matter of minutes? And we're hearing stories about that. You know, what would I do? What would I grab? What would I? You know, of course, I take the cats out of the house, but you're gonna be walking 50 miles with cats on your back. So anyway, I don't know if you ever tried that. It's not recommended.
Taking cats what?
Yeah, walking. Well, I saw taking cats on your back for 50 miles. I'm just kidding. You know, if you had to flee, you had to flee. You know.
Yeah, here. Say hi.
Right. So anyway, yeah, we do have our work cut out for us, Tom, and I really do thank you for all the work you do. And actually, before I let you go, I do want, because I know you talk to a lot of Democrats in power, and they always complain. Well, what we hear about is the message, and one of the things on the show that I'm trying to get the message. I want to give the Democrats some good talking points, and that this is important. So because you wrote a whole other book about it, right? Cracking the code. So, but for example, when Joe Biden with Build Back Better, he talks about it's fair, it's only right, it's only fair to raise taxes on billionaires. Well, I wish somebody would tell him it's not just fair, because nobody cares about fair at this point. Even though that's nice, I do care about fair. You might, but they don't. It's about building the infrastructure of democracy. What is so hard about saying that? We're building the infrastructure of democracy, because you can't have a democracy and concentrated wealth at the same time. Boom. I think that would be, a message that people could digest easily. And these are patriotic imperatives, like universal health care. It's not far left. It's a patriotic imperative, because we don't leave people behind. Boom. There you go. Mm. I was in the National Guard, and we used to actually drill on leaving no one behind. Somebody would be the wounded person, and we had to get them out of there. And, so we don't leave people behind on the battlefield. We don't leave them behind on the battlefield of sickness, on the battlefield of whatever it might be, on the battlefield of homelessness, on the battlefield of, whatever, education, or we don't leave anybody behind. I don't know. And that's patriotism, right? And that's the other thing. Liberals have to unapologetically reclaim the mantle of patriotism, because we're the patriots. It's not just about wearing a shirt with a star on it that says, these colors don't run. It's about leaving nobody behind. And that's what liberalism is all about. And building the infrastructure of democracy, being capable of functioning in a democracy. That's why we have to, educate people on how tenuous it is and how easily it's lost. But I guess we're seeing that now. We certainly, like you say, we live in interesting times, but it's exhausting, right?
All of the above.
Right, right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out, Thom. And thank you once again for writing another book that I couldn't put down. I read all your books before, I have to tell you. I don't know if I told you this before. But even before I knew you, I read, what was The Prophet's Way? That was the first book I read.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, years ago. Because I'm in recovery, so it was like being passed around by when you were talking about people like doing heroin and cops knocking on the door, I thought you were talking about my 20s. So. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out and, doing and being on the front lines. Really, you're absolutely prolific. But I guess that's the way we have to be when we're liberals, because we don't have big billionaire benefactors to prop us up. So I really do thank you for coming on this show, giving this show. Yeah, it does help. It helps give the show a little bit more cred. So thank you.
It's my pleasure, and it's a pleasure and an honor. I always enjoy speaking with you, Tara.
Oh, wow.
I always learn from our conversations.
Oh, so thank you.
In particular, your idea of, from your guard service of never leaving anybody behind. I think that's absolutely brilliant as a way of describing democracy. I love it. Thank you. Yeah,
thank you, and pass it on to the Democrats, because I call them, I tell them, but I hope they listen. That's all. Yeah. All right. I'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. Thom Hartmann, the amazing, Where am I? Did I just shut the show down? Where am I? Who am I? Oh, boom. Why can't I get myself back here? What's going on here? Go away. Okay, great. I don't know. Let Tom talk. He wasn't talking. I felt like... am I wrong? I did let him talk. I felt like he was just waiting for me to talk. Am I wrong? He was kind of quiet. I think that when he comes on the show, he's tired. Like, it's a long day. He's had a whole day of doing interviews and being on the show. I mean, and being on other people's shows. I feel like he's a little bit, like, low-key. Let Tom talk. I thought I did better letting him talk this time. Right? Some people need questions. A simple "what do you think" would suffice. I did that. What do you think? I said. In the beginning. He did look tired. I feel like, I'm trying here. I try. You gotta watch the beginning. He did talk. He talked real good in the beginning. And then he kind of like got tired, it felt like. Am I wrong? Hello? I don't know. It was better this time, Jim says. You suck. I'm only kidding. It was better. That's not good. That's not a good... oh, well, whatever. Maybe I shouldn't interview people. Maybe I shouldn't do a show. Maybe I'll quit. What do you think? I don't know. Fuck it, shit. I'm sitting here talking, and then he's not talking. That's why the first half was great. You son of a bitch. Says Jim. The first half was great. What about the second half? What about... Son of a bastards. I don't know. He was tired. He looked tired. He wasn't saying anything at times. I swear. And that's why I was like, what do you think? In the beginning, I actually wrote down questions. I asked him the questions. I read the book. I did the research. I asked everything. And then, I don't know. Now I'm feeling very criticized. And I need to call my shrink. Goodbye. No, I'm just kidding. The second half was great. Oh, that's good. And the first half was great. What the friggin' frig? He didn't seem engaged. Yes. Right. I feel you. It felt like he was tired. And not, he wasn't helping me. And trust me, I've seen other interviews. He's a little bit more, what do you call it? A little bit more enthused. And then he just seemed tired. He's tired. What are you going to do? Look at him. He writes a book a minute. He has a show. He writes a book a minute. He gets up early and does interviews. I don't know. Whatever. I can't win. You know what I mean? You just can't win in this world. Why even bother? Yes. I don't like it. Well, but hey, Paradu says, I know I personally don't like to interrupt. I wasn't monopolizing. I was like, What do you think? Boom. And then I'd ask him a question. And I'd ask him blah, blah, blah. And then I'd wait for the answer. And he'd talk. And then I'd ask him another question. And then he just fucking like fizzled out. What are you going to do, man? Oh, well. I'm not even going to bother anymore. How's that? You can't win in this life. So why try? Why try? Why try? You see? Nobody cares about this show. And nobody cares about me. I'm going to run off and 4 hours difference. Yes, it's true. What time is it? Yeah, it's only 5:30. But he's tired. Yeah, you're right. Shouldn't be this tired. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was. I don't know. How bad was it? It's not bad. I hope he's not watching right now. He's probably not. Probably passed out. As soon as the show is over, he's like, boom. Damn it. I hope he I just wanted to, that's why at the end I just wanted to give him the, the talking points that we're trying to get out there. I could have given him some more talking points. But he looked like he was... And plus he was like... Excuse me, guys. He was fucking looking at his watch. Okay? Did you notice that? And then he was talking to somebody off screen. I'm not crazy. He was like... Like that. And that's fine. You could talk to somebody off screen. I'm cool with it. But, just what? What are you saying? What's happening? Who's that? Is that Louise? Just put her head in. I don't know. Oh, well. Guess I fucked up again. Well, it didn't. Yeah, Paraducer. I know that pissed you. It didn't piss me off. I felt stupid. I felt like, what are you saying? Who are you talking to? Like, you're talking. Are you? And he said, I'm talking to you. But he was like going like this. Right, he was. I know. It's okay if he was. I wasn't being critical. Yes, it was. Yeah, Luther says probably his wife. Yeah, no biggie. She just sort of said, Louise is here. It's okay. I don't know. I hope he's not watching now as we do the after action review. Oh, well. As long as he passes on our talking points to the Democrats and they start using them, we might have a shot. Because that's really what it's about. We're trying to make this world a better place. I'm not doing this for my health. Look at me. I'm only 22 years old. It's like I'm only kidding. And I look like shit. That's the joke. All right. Everybody stop it. Right. That's what everybody in the chat room is saying. Stop it. Leave it. All right, I will. I'm trying to share my... whatever. Makes me want to not even try. Why do I try? Anybody know? Why was I born? Does anybody know why I was born? Oh, wait. All right. I know. Right. Repubs have no souls. Let's talk about that. All right. You got it. How long was he on the air? He was on the air for like a fucking hour. That was that was a long time. That was good. And I appreciate it. All right. Oh, God. I'm looking at myself. Now I'm being overly critical of me, looking at me. And it's not good. Oh, boy. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out, everybody. This isn't the end of the show. I'm just saying. Thanks for hanging out. I'm checking in with you. And thank you, River, for your super chat. Always a pleasure to be here. Thank you, River. I appreciate it. No care for cats, says Jim. He had some care. He's got a cat. Are you talking about? I don't know. I don't know, man. Why was I born? Thank you, River. River says, Tara, you're a beast in a good way. Oh, good. Good. Fuck. I can't win. I just can't win. Why do I even try? Okay, why I keep saying that? I gotta call my shrink. That's the conversation I'll save for him. Trust me. I will be saying that to him. Why do I even try? Because that's pretty much what I say every time I talk to him. Why do I even fucking bother? What am I doing? I gotta be nuts. Why don't I go sit on a cliff somewhere in Ireland? Why not? I don't know. I bet you all of the 90% of the other people who interview him didn't read the book. Okay? But I did. All right. Who cares? Why was I born? Who cares? All right. What do we want to talk about? I had other things on my list. And I was visualizing. I was visualizing a great interview. See how good that shit does. No, it was good. I thought it was good. Well, no, I'm only saying that. Okay, where are we? Let's see. You know what I wanted to talk about? I mean, there's so many things. And, yeah. I didn't like it's not that it wasn't his fault, of course, but when he was saying that because I agree. I said, if the Republicans get power in 2024, we're in for it. And for somebody like him, who's really, he is an optimist, to say that, it's damn. That actually I know, I do listen to his show, so he does talk about that on his show. But to hear it again, it's alarming. You want to be lulled into a false sense of security sometime. Anyway, what do you think about what I said about the Brutus and the Roman Republic? That's what I think. The Democrats are like Brutus. They think that we're fighting for... Look at like Adam Schiff, who's great, but that's his personality. He's very low key. Except he gave a great speech at the end of Trump's, his first impeachment, of course. But, there's not passion behind it, it seems, most of the time. Like, even in the impeachment trial, Republicans are... it's like they are, the Democrats are, they're almost loathed to call the Republicans fascists and to call them out for what they are, which is really annoying because you don't, this is what we get. We're at this point because the Democrats just don't bring a gun to a gun battle. They bring a strongly worded email, or Nancy Pelosi will beg for Republicans to take back their party because they've done so much good. And they've done nothing good. Not a thing. Nada. Nothing. That's right. Jim on the chat says, I think No One Left Behind is a better message for Dems. Exactly. Not it's fair. Yeah, that's true too. It's fair. Pay your fair share. Because, fair is all subjective. And then the Republicans, what do they say? They'll counter with, well, that's not your money, or whatever. This is what they say. That billionaires should be billionaires because they earned it. And who are we to say what's fair? Who are we to take it from them? Because they earned it. Even though they earned it on our backs and because of a rigged system. So, no, we don't leave anybody behind. How do you battle that? What's the counter to that? Yes, we do? What are you going to say? I've had, in fact, when I spoke to AOC and I made a little video about it on this show. Not on the show. I spoke to her as a constituent and I recorded it on her. Well, wasn't doing it secretly. And I said that, as far as universal health care and taxing the rich and all of that, living wages, retirement security, all of that it's not just nice and fair. It's a patriotic imperative, and that's how it has to be messaged. It's a patriotic imperative because you can't have democracy and concentrated wealth at the same time. Boom. Boom-ba-did boom. Joe Biden's out there. I'm a capitalist. I love capitalism, but pay your fair share. That doesn't... What does that say? First of all, it says that the system is fine, or democracy's fine, but we're, just pay your fair share. No. What you have to say is democracy is on the ropes because you can't have democracy and concentrated wealth at the same time. Boom, biddy boom. And we have traitors. There are traitors all over the place. And the message is being washed out. People don't even agree. You can't have a democratic republic when you don't even agree on reality. And you don't even agree what a democratic republic is. What's the point of a democratic republic? Freedom. Well, what does that mean? The freedom to die in the streets, right? The freedom to... and that's what Republicans will say. They will say, yeah, you're free. You're free to die. Like when that woman... There was a story about a woman who had cancer. And she's calling her Republican representative because he's destroying democracy. Well, he's destroying Obamacare. And she said, well, I can't get insurance because you fuckers or whatever. And then he said to her, the fascist who answered the phone was like, well, if I can't afford a tailored Italian shirt or whatever the hell he said, I won't get it. I won't buy it. So that's what? It's not about. What do you mean? You're dying. I need medical care. It's not about whether I can afford a shirt, a nice fancy shirt. You know what I mean? But Republicans say that. They think that is freedom. No, it's not. It's actually oppression. And it's not democracy. So, because we love democracy, that's the way it is. You don't leave anybody behind. We don't leave them behind in ignorance. We don't leave them behind in sickness. We don't leave them behind in homelessness. That's freedom. We're in this together. When you get a big bully like Putin, just imagine he's the bully that came from another neighborhood and he starts beating you up in the street. Well, that bully might get in a few good punches, but if the rest of the neighborhood comes out and says, we're in this together, that bully's going to have a fight on his hands. And he might just lose. Because people have to stick together. That's what freedom is. That's democracy. We're in this together. That's democracy. Anyway, whatever. What do I know? Free to die in a fire after canceling the fire department because taxes are slavery. Right. Exactly. Well, that's the way it was in the Roman Republic before it fell to the Roman Empire. Well, we talked about this on the show, actually. The Roman, Rome was a fire trap. And, how did we bring that up? It was because, we were talking about Cassius. And I was saying how I hoped Trump would die a similar death. How did Cassius die? Marcus Licinius Cassius. He tried to invade Parthia because he didn't like that Caesar was getting all the glory. Caesar had this successful invasion of Gaul. That's why he was actually charged by the Senate, because he invaded Gaul without their permission. It's like somebody with a private army invading. Well, they were, you know what I mean. This is everything. There's so many parallels. But we don't know history, so how will we spot the parallels? These people are like, go to business school. That's the only thing that matters. Figure out some algorithm to steal people's money. But, so he wanted to go invade Parthia to show them he's got what do they call it? Dignitas. He's got the dignitas too. And he lost spectacularly, terribly. In fact, his son was decapitated, and the Parthians threw his son's head at him because they were apparently good at riding horses. They could ride and shoot arrows going forward and also from behind. So they could turn around and shoot as the horse was going in the other direction. And they never... And what's his name? Oh, yeah, Cassius thought he would wait them out. They would have to run out of arrows eventually, but they didn't, because they had a system of continuously bringing arrows, like on an assembly line type thing. And he's like, holy shit, these arrows don't ever stop. And then they got him. So they killed his son, and he was already demoralized, and everyone was like, this is a shit show. And he lost. He was captured, and they executed him by pouring molten gold down his throat, because he was renowned for being for his greed, for being he's the richest man in Rome, but also a greedy mofo. And that's how it is. Yeah. All right. The Romans were the first mafioso. Oh, yeah. Well, you know what I was thinking about today, as far as the Romans were concerned? I was thinking about that people don't, there's a lot of we talk about it on the show, the end of the Roman Republic, the beginning of the empire, but there were 500-year history before that. And the reason why it's so fascinating to me, especially in parallel to what we're dealing with now, because people don't ever change, that's for sure. But it's, and also a warning for us, because the Romans took oaths. It was part of their psyche that no king shall rule Rome. And that was part, of the Roman consciousness for 500 years. And here we are, less than 250 years into this debacle, and we're swirling the bowl. Autocracy is rearing its head, and of course it always rears its head as, it doesn't rear its head as autocracy. It comes disguised as the Republic, just like that's the way Caesar did it. Augustus learned his lesson, and we talked about that on the show too. That's Trump. Trump, even though Caesar was, Trump, please, is nowhere near what Caesar was, because Caesar was, he won. He wasn't a douchebag as Trump is, but he wasn't a fraud in many ways, because he was renowned for fighting in the thick of it with his troops. That's why he won their loyalty to the point where they crossed the Rubicon and became rebels. So, anyway, but Trump, so Caesar was assassinated because, for many reasons, one of which was that he didn't give enough deference to the Senate. Part of the reason they rose up, not just the oath that they took about no king shall rule Rome or whatever. It was, he was walking around ostentatiously. He, instead of, because they used to have two consuls' chair, he basically put a throne, put a golden chair, because they were so afraid of one-man rule that they had to constantly share power. So there were always two consuls, and they can only last a year. And there were so many rules about it. Like, you had to be a certain age, and you had to do, whatever it might be. But those rules started to fall by the wayside. And just like here, crossing or violating norms. It's not violating norms. They're killing the Republic. And what else did he do? There were a few. He didn't stand up at one time. And the Senate they were bestowing him. They couldn't help but trip over each other, bestowing all kinds of honors upon him, because they were such, it's like Republicans and Trump. Really. They were like, we're going to make you this and that, and we're going to give you this honor. And that's Republicans and Trump. And then one of the reasons they cite was that when the senators came to him, he was working on or supervising some building project, and they came to Caesar to tell him, guess what? We just all voted that you're the greatest, bestest, or whatever. We're going to give you this honor and that honor. And he didn't even rise from his chair, which is something that was considered disrespectful. And they were like, can you believe that? of course, different Roman writers say there were one of the reasons he didn't rise from his chair. I think it was one of the famous historians, Suetonius, I can't remember, said that he didn't get up because he actually was having a bout of diarrhea. That's actually in the writing. Isn't that funny? Ow! Almost fell. And yeah, so he was excusing it. Well, he didn't want to get up because it would have been worse. They would have been insulted worse to see the diarrhea. And so that's part of why they assassinated him, because he just didn't know how to contain his disdain for the Senate. And then the next wannabe autocrat, Octavian, soon to be Augustus. All of the honors they all came from the Senate. The Senate bestowed the Augustus moniker on him. But he learned his lesson. Don't ever, play the game better. He learned the lesson of Caesar. And he would be respectful to the senators, and he would not sit in a throne. He lived a more austere life in a way, even though, that was part of his whole branding. He was going to prove or model a perfect Roman. Yeah, eat right, not too much. Don't be excessive. Right, Junior? That's what I'm afraid of with Republicans. You got Trump, but he's vile and disgusting. So the next fascist will know how to play the game better. Look at this cat, by the way. Watch. Can I have your paw? I told you he gives paw. He gives good paw. Look, come on. Give me your paw. Can I have your paw, please? Paw. See? He did it again. That's not a fluke. Because I trained him. I did train him up real good. Uh-oh. Oh, boy. What am I gonna do? All right, let's talk about... What do you want to talk about? I don't know what tonight. I'm having mixed emotions about the interview and the response. And also... Me. I'm feeling kind of weird. Look at this cat. Give me this. See? Did I not tell you? He gives his paw. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. All right, you want to see it again? Just to prove my point? Come on, paw. Give me a paw. Paw. I want that paw. You hear me? Paw. All right, now you're embarrassing me. Paw. All right, this show is going to hell. This show is going to hell in a handbasket. Pawness. I need the paw. Give me a paw. I need this paw. All right, whatever. Look, he's doing it again. Watch. See? Yeah. That was a tease, though. Come on, pawness. Give me the paw. Come on. Give it to me. Now. Not the head. The paw. Give me that paw. Give me that paw, and I don't care. Give me that paw, and I don't care. Give me that paw, and I don't care. Give me that paw. All right, now you're being defiant. All right, everybody. You can all just send me private notes about whether the show sucks or not. No, I'm just kidding. I never say that. Whatever. All right. I'm just trying to decide. What are we going to talk about for the next half hour or so? I need to go to bed. I think I need to get unconscious soon, because I'm exhausted from life. Come on, kid. See, this is the kind of show we should be having at all times. Can I see? I need the paw. I thought maybe if I explained it to him better. Can I have it? Give me that paw. Give it to me. No. Give me your paw. That's why maybe I have to say it like that. Give me your paw. Give me your paw. All right. Forget it. Set it and forget it. Give me the paw. He's doing it again. Every time I change the camera, I think he gets a little weird when my hand's above his head. He doesn't know. Yeah. Give me that paw. Give me that paw. Give me the paw. There you go. There you go. Yes, you're good. You did it. You did it. You did it. You did it. My baby. You're great. Thank you, Sin City. The show's always great or good. I made it great. Just change the word there. Yes. All right. Now he's going to start screaming in my face. And I don't like the screaming in the face part, though. I like the paw part. I don't like the screaming in the face. I'm going to have to put him in the bedroom, right? I'm going to put you in the bedroom. I don't like the staring either. Look at the staring. I don't like you staring at me. I had a few things on deck. All right, I'm not focused, clearly. Because, I don't know. You know what? Oh, thank you. You're so... Thank you, JD. JD pops in with a super chat. Even though what's going on? The show is... I'm delirious, basically. All right, let me see. Let's play this video. I wanted, because Tucker Carlson is a traitor. While I play this, let's see. I might have to run and put Junior in the bedroom. You say. All right, let me play this. This is see, Tucker Carlson is a traitor, and just like on January 6th, when I thought that would be the end of the Republicans. No, at least their bullshit would be exposed, and the American people would wake up to the danger of fascism and everything we've been screaming about on the show. I, of course, was very sadly disappointed, but now they're doing the same thing as far as their long history of Putin love. Praising Putin as a genius and savvy and the greatest, and we're killers too, and you think we're so... What did Trump say? Oh, you think we're so innocent? We're killers too. Now you tell me, as you know, who if any Democrat had said anything close to that, well, what do you think the response would be from the Republicans? That's how you know they don't have the best interests of the American people at heart. Like I was saying to Tom while he was falling asleep, that what it's malpractice. You're in a position of authority, ultimately, ideally, as a representative of the people. You don't use your power to make people afraid needlessly, or to, lie to them. All right, Junior, come on. He's getting nuts now. So anyway, I'm gonna put him in the bedroom as soon as I play this. But so Tucker Carlson is I guess he's getting embarrassed, or I don't know. No, he's gaslighting his victims. They're not viewers, they're victims. He's gaslighting them into thinking that he wasn't the one sitting there saying, "Why should I side with Ukraine? Why shouldn't I side with Putin? Because I do. Why shouldn't I want," that's what he said, "why shouldn't I want Putin to win? Because I do." Why? Maybe because when you say things like no war in Russia, they immediately transfer you to the gulag, that you can't even get the words out when the army of thugs drag you away. That's why. Sort of like when you talk about, I guess, critical race theory now, right? Or if you're trans, banning trans, right? No trans, ban transgender. That's where the poor put upon conservatives, the college conservatives were oppressed by the liberals, and all they did was didn't like their conservative views that said ban a section of humanity. Ban some people. Just ban from people from being born. Ban them from living. That's the conservative view. But now, well, anyway, Tucker is gaslighting, of course, the dumbasses stupid enough to watch him and believe him into saying, he's saying, why would they even say this, that I'm a traitor? And then he was playing clips of other corporate media pundits calling him a traitor. Oh, Junior just hopped down. Where'd you go, honey? Where'd you go? Shh. Oh, what? Leave him. Why don't I let Tucker speak for himself? Here we go. Here's Tucker claiming he's not a traitor because Romney said Black Lives Matter. Here it is.
Happy Monday. Here's something we just saw. I wish we brought it to you earlier. Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, of course, gave an interview recently that didn't get enough attention in this country. Zelensky, needless to say, is currently engaged in a desperate fight for his country, his government, his life. And he has been since the Russian military invaded Ukraine nearly 3 weeks ago. So you can assume there's not a lot Zelensky thinks about at this point, apart from getting the Russians off of Ukrainian soil. So last week, Zelensky floated the idea of accepting so-called Ukrainian neutrality, agreeing not to join NATO. In exchange for that, he would get a Russian withdrawal from Ukraine. Now, there's nothing inherently controversial about Zelensky's idea. Ukraine was not on the cusp of joining NATO anyway. NATO officials have long said they don't want Ukraine to join. It's not clear whose interests would be served by Ukraine joining NATO. So if accepting the status quo, going with the way things already were and were always going to be, if doing that convinces Putin to stop killing Ukrainians and spares Ukraine from total and complete destruction, maybe it's not a crazy idea. Maybe Zelensky is onto something. He certainly thought about it a lot.
Oops, sorry, I hit the wrong.
Congratulate Zelensky for acting wisely on behalf of the country he leads. This could be a win for him and for the entire world.
What the hell?
Probably not a lot of American media outlets will describe it that way, however. Indeed, by mentioning NATO, a topic that is completely off limits in American media, Zelensky may have gone too far. Daily, in every possible venue, we are told that NATO is, paradoxically, both of its central importance to the United States and at the same time irrelevant to what happens in Eastern Europe. So years of talk about expanding NATO into Ukraine, we've watched those happen in public.
Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. I don't have any control over the video for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm just warning you. That's why I'm not interrupting him as I usually do. Fucking eCam, probably, in some form or another. But let me... And I don't... Something is wrong with my eCam, so... Let's keep going.
Had nothing whatsoever to do with Russia invading Ukraine. Nothing at all. That's what they tell us. Putin invaded Ukraine because he's bad. End of conversation. And anyone who says otherwise, anyone who suggests there might be a way out of this disaster short of total war, anyone who says that...
Shut up! You see? Anyone who says... He's presenting himself as some kind of peace, Nick. That's why he's a Putin puppet. Right? Anyone who says anything otherwise, that there might be some legitimate reason why Putin would invade, what's the legitimate reason? What business is it of his whether Ukraine joins NATO? That's none of his business. That's a sovereign nation. What do you give a shit? Jesus Christ. But anybody who says anything different is apparently a traitor. That's what they say. Who's they? Anyone with a brain? Anyone who's not a traitor. Oh, yeah. That's what they say. But they're telling me, they're telling you I'm a traitor. Me, not me. Me, Tucker Carlson, a traitor? Me? Because I say I want Putin to win, and what's the big deal, and who cares, and why do we care, and why do we care about Ukraine? Because you guess what, guys? You know it. If Trump was the so-called president, despite receiving fewer votes again, he would have taken this country out of NATO already. That's why Putin didn't invade. They keep saying, why didn't he invade when he was afraid? All of that, giving Putin everything he ever dreamed of, was like playing not playing, but doing jujitsu on the scumbag. Mm-hmm. What the heck? Don't ask. See, oh my God. Fucking eCam it is the eCam again. Is giving me a problem. You see? Everything's... What happened to eCam? Where is it? I don't know where it is. Now I don't have control over anything. I can't even get back to the other screen. See? Oh, here we go. I'm trying to do this. Move that. Put that there. Let's try this.
Tonight, happy Monday. Here's something we just saw.
Now it's the beginning earlier. Again.
Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, of course, gave an interview recently that didn't get enough.
Fuck, I'm sorry. We'll get back. Here we go.
In this country, Zelensky, needless to say, is currently engaged in a desperate fight for his country, his government, his life. And he has been since the Russian military invaded Ukraine nearly 3 weeks ago. So you can assume there's not a lot Zelensky thinks about at this point, apart from getting the Russians off of Ukrainian soil.
Oh, yes.
So last week, Zelensky floated the idea of accepting so-called Ukrainian neutrality, agreeing not to join NATO. In exchange for that, he would get a Russian withdrawal from Ukraine.
Yeah, bullshit.
Now, there's nothing inherently controversial about Zelensky's idea. Ukraine was not on the cusp of joining NATO anyway. NATO officials have long said they don't want Ukraine to join. it's not clear whose interests would be served by Ukraine joining
Shut
NATO.
the fuck up.
So if accepting the status quo, going with the way things already were and were always going to be, if doing
Always
that
going
convinces
to be.
Putin to stop killing Ukrainians and spares Ukraine from total and complete destruction, maybe it's not a crazy idea. Maybe Zelensky is onto something. He certainly thought about it a lot. Maybe we ought to congratulate Zelensky for acting wisely on behalf of the country he leads. This could be a
Shut
win
up.
for him and for the entire world.
Oh, yes, because that's
Probably
what
not
you
a lot of
care
American
about, right?
media
Chicken
outlets will
killer?
describe it that way, however. Indeed, by mentioning NATO, a topic that is completely off limits in American media, Zelensky may have gone too
bitch.
far. Daily, in every
'Cause
possible
NATO's
venue,
good.
we're told that NATO is, paradoxically, both of its central importance to the United States
Yeah.
and at the same time irrelevant to what happens in Eastern Europe.
Oh,
So years of talk about
wow,
expanding NATO
that's
into
deep.
Ukraine, and we've watched those happen in public, that had nothing whatsoever to do with Russia invading Ukraine. Nothing at all. That's what they tell us.
Who's
Putin
they?
invaded Ukraine because he's bad. End of conversation.
Yeah, bitch.
And anyone who says otherwise, anyone who suggests there might be a way out of this disaster.
Oh, is that
short
what
of
you're
total
doing
war,
as you're
anyone who says that is
filleting
merely
him?
denounced as a tool of Russian
Yeah.
propaganda.
Because that's
What does
what you're
that mean?
doing, right?
It means that by acknowledging that NATO expansion is what Putin seems to care about most,
No.
Zelensky is by definition, at least in this country, repeating Russian talking points.
What?
That would make the president
Oh,
of Ukraine
I love
a
the
Putin
inflection.
collaborator.
Yeah, you're a...
Sound insane?
Oh, yeah.
But then you can still think
It
clearly.
sounds like
Well, that's the state
bullshit.
of play. How do we know this? Let's just say we've lived it.
Oh, you poor
We've made
baby.
the point repeatedly
You're a
that
baby.
forcing Ukraine into
Oh,
NATO
you're
will
the
in no
victim.
way serve the interests of the United States, and in fact could hurt us here
Really?
in ways from which we will never recover. And by the way, talking about it doesn't seem to have helped Ukraine
Wow.
either. For saying that, and that's all we've said, here's the reaction we've received. And this is just a small selection. We could do a full hour on it, but here's a clip.
What seems to be almost
A
the
full
Putin
hour.
wing of the Republican Party, which to be fair, is not prevalent much on Capitol Hill, but we've seen Tucker Carlson,
Yeah.
basically repeat Russian propaganda night after night. What the hell is going on?
Well, first of all, before they fell in love with Putin, they fell in love with Orban in Hungary. Make America great again meant, let's make America more like Hungary.
And the most popular Republican broadcaster in America, Tucker Carlson, are both unabashed fans of Putin. And there are very few Republicans out there like Mitt Romney or Liz Cheney who have the courage to call them out. This is a disgrace.
How anybody in this country, which loves freedom, can side with Vladimir Putin, which is an oppressor, a dictator. He kills people. He imprisons his political opponents. He has been an adversary of America at every chance he's had. It's unthinkable to be. It's almost treasonous.
Ooh, almost treasonous. Siding with Putin. Who's siding with Putin? I haven't seen anybody do that.
You
I've seen
are.
A few people try to side with the United States. And that, says Mitt Romney, a man who got 4 deferments to keep himself out of the Vietnam War, that is almost treasonous. What's so interesting, we don't want to pick on Mitt Romney here, it's too easy.
How many
But it
deferments did
does
you
seem
get,
like if you take a
chicken
step
boy?
back, that the very same people who spent the last, say, 2 years telling us that this country, our country,
Right, here
is
we go.
inherently sinful,
Yeah.
racist,
Oh,
and disgusting,
here it is.
born in iniquity. Those same people, the ones who lecture you about how there's something inherently wrong with you if you live here, were born here.
No,
Those
that's
same
not what
people
we're
have been the
saying.
very quickest, the very first to whip around and accuse
Whip
anyone
around.
who
I
wants
wish
to
somebody would
save the
whip
United
you.
States from yet another pointless war, a war that they would
Pointless?
never
Not
fight and annoy
quite.
their children. Accuse those people of being unpatriotic.
Yeah,
We don't
bitch.
love America enough.
No, you don't
Says
love
the man who
America at
thinks
all.
America is racist.
Can
How
you
does that work
believe
exactly?
this?
We're not sure, but in case you've forgotten, here's the very same
Oh,
Mitt
here we
Romney
go.
marching with the very same people who told us that this is a white supremacist hellhole. And by the way, we've got to do away with the nuclear family. That's never done anybody any good. Here he is.
Who said that?
A way to end violence and brutality and to make sure that people understand that Black Lives Matter.
So, okay, it's just Mitt Romney. Never a genius, obviously deep in the grip of some late life crisis, licking his wounds from being beaten by Obama in 2012.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes,
But it's not
that
just
must
Mitt
be
Romney.
it.
Imagine how you would feel if you were a business owner in Kenosha or Minneapolis or Atlanta or Louisville.
Here we go. Black Lives Matter again.
I don't know, used to go to St. John's Church in Washington, D.C., or someone who works in the federal courthouse in Portland, Oregon, before BLM torched all of it.
Really? Wait, I don't know where these people live.
To knowing that your leaders don't really care about you, but when they reveal that they actively hate you...
No, we actively hate you!
That's hard to take.
Tucker.
Of course, Mitt Romney is debasing himself, degrading
this?
himself in order to be liked in Washington. Yeah, we've seen that, of course, but it's deeper than that. Needless to say, the people Mitt Romney wants to like him, his new masters, were not satisfied with him marching with BLM or denouncing his critics as almost treasonous. They want more.
You're not just
they won't
almost.
Be satisfied until every Republican in the U.S. Senate is wholly indistinguishable from Chris Hayes, and they're getting pretty close.
You see? Can you believe that mishmash of racism, of treason, of gaslighting, and obvious lack of, I don't even know. I mean, it's... So here, let me try to wrap my brain around it. Tucker saying anybody calling him a traitor is hates America, are the ones who actually hate America because, like Mitt Romney, they said Black Lives Matter, and Black Lives Matter torched a church in Kenosha. But is that right? Am I getting it right here? That's the reasoning. So no, Tucker's not a traitor, even though he's spent I don't know how long sucking on Putin's taint and literally spewing Russian talking points, and to the point where they're playing clips of Tucker Carlson on Russian propaganda television. Honey, if somebody is playing your clips on an and let's not even, okay, yeah, he's being played on, he's Tokyo Rose. What's the difference between him and Tokyo Rose and Tokyo Rose? What's the difference between Tokyo Rose and Tokyo Rose? There is none. They're both traitors spewing the talking points of our enemies, of the enemies of democracy. What's the difference? But Black Lives Matter. Oh. And everybody who says Black Lives Matter really thinks that America was born in iniquity, that we're inherently evil, that the country's inherently evil, born in iniquity. No, that's not what anybody's saying. I hate them. You understand? Well, that's what I'm saying. I hate them, but this is why we have to get the message back. Because first of all, these people are racist, obviously. That's what they go to. Even to deflect from his own treason. They can't see the treason through their own racism. And Tucker knows that. Because Tucker's a traitor. But we can't listen to Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney says that anybody who's spewing Russian talking points is almost treasonous. But don't listen to him because he got 4 deferments and would never fight in the Vietnam War. So, and also said Black Lives Matter. Does that make any sense? No, it does to a bunch of racists and traitors looking for any excuse. It's like it's like a pathology, like addiction. Like when I was in the grips of active addiction, I used to tell myself all kinds of bullshit to keep myself sick. Not that I realized it at the time, but it was the disease talking. I don't know what's talking here, Tucker. It's the greed talking, I guess. And also his fear, too. Because he was born on third base. thinking he hit a triple. He is a disgusting, disgusting white privileged, pasty-faced scumbag, and looking down on us from the ivory tower. He's horrible because instead of talk about not being able to look at yourself. I mean, instead of using your position, having some gratitude. Where's the noblesse oblige, right? There's none of that. None of that. Oh, wow. Aren't I lucky to have been born on third base? That I have an obligation to maybe try to make the world a better place. Use my position not to tickle racist funny bones and spread the talking points of autocrats. Because Putin's not alone. He's not the only one. He's doing his show from an autocrat's lap. Right? I mean, that's... why? Why would you do that? If you love America, you hate America. They hate America so much. That's why he needs to redefine what it means to be an American, what it means, what America is, what the grand experiment in liberal democracy is. Was it born in iniquity? It was a product of its time. The liberal age of enlightenment and the contradictions of white privileged people being able to form a government of by and for the people while owning other human beings. Yeah, I mean, that's the complexity of the human condition. The denial. And they were products of their time. But we're also products of our time. So we don't have any excuses now. Because we know better. We know that Black Lives Matter. And we know that if all lives actually mattered, we wouldn't have to say it. And we know that if we want a functioning democratic republic, a multiracial democratic republic birthed in the liberal age of enlightenment, then we have to have that reconciliation where we recognize the contradictions and the hypocrisies and try to do something about it. That was affirmative action. So Republicans hate any attempt to move forward. But affirmative action was sincere. People who passed affirmative action laws, they sincerely believed that we would have a more perfect union when people got to know each other better, and that's what it would take. All we had to do was go to school together, live together, and we would have that more perfect union, and racial problems would fall by the wayside. But as time went on, even though some things got better, the truth to anybody who isn't a scumbag became clearer that, it's not just people, it's also the system. So it doesn't matter if you go to school with all different pigments, if the system is corrupted by the racist laws. I mean, of course this country had racist laws. What was redlining? What was the New Deal that only extended to white pigment? Not just the New Deal, the GI Bill. That's not racist. When if you had white pigment, you could use your GI Bill to buy a home. But if you had darker pigment, you couldn't. I said, so? That's racist, you goddamn stinking traitor. And the fact that you don't want to talk about it means that not only do you hate America, you're trying to destroy it. That's what they're doing. Because in order to have that functioning, constitutionally limited, democratic, multiracial republic that works for all, that's what we need. We need to have the truth and reconciliation. We need to have people understand that we're in this together, regardless of pigment. But, Republicans, it's a con. They don't like democracy, guys. We know that. Tucker Carlson doesn't like democracy. Even though he was born on, he's a goddamn, he's little Lord Fauntleroy, that asshole. That's what he is. The heir to the friggin' Swanson chicken friggin' murderers. And you know that every chicken that ever died to make a Swanson dinner had more value than any Tucker Carlson could ever muster. Those poor chickens. But that's what he does. He's a scumbag. Little pasty-faced, puffy scumbag. Little Lord Fauntleroy telling everybody else that, he's not, nothing wrong with the system. He's not, he earned everything? He did it himself. He earned it all. So he gets to sit there and fill the heads of fascists and they're all the same, white nationalists, racists, small-hearted little racists who lack the maturity to look at themselves, of course. Because, what's his name? Romney said Black Lives Matter. Can you believe that? Oh, yeah, of course. Of course we can believe it. That's all they got. But we have the words that come out of your mouth, Tucker. And every time he says, they say, they play a clip, and they'll say, oh, I was only kidding. Like when Trump was like, Putin's a genius. He's savvy, a savvy genius. Really, so savvy to bomb hospitals, to kill pregnant women and baby. Right, they love life. Republicans. Please. I'm so tired. Aren't you tired of these horrible people constantly with their big ass mouths? They might as well just move to an autocracy. Why do you want to make this country an autocracy? It's a lot of work to do that. And I know you don't want to work, Tucker, because you were handed everything in life. Now, I know for a fact, I wasn't handed anything. My mother was a nun and my father was a garbage man. So I don't know what I was handed. But if I were handed a fortune, I know I would not be sitting there using my power and privilege to confuse people, to confuse racists, to capitalize on racism and keep it going. Keep it stirred up. Right, everyone on the chat, people are saying, I'm tired too. Terry Taylor, I'm so tired, Tara. Paradu, been tired. It's exhausting. That's the other thing. It is tiring. And then people say, A lot of, in fact, I was talking to another friend of mine the other day, my friend Michael, and he was like saying that people are sharing and talking about, oh, I can't even watch the news. I got to turn it off. And yeah, that's part of how everything, democracy dies, frankly. Because, but that's a tactic, you see, and Republicans are good at it. Conservatives do it. And they've done studies, and that's part of why, one of the reasons conservatives produce negative ads, because they know that it will turn people off, and they won't vote. They won't even, it's a voter suppression tactic, which they'll say, oh, I can't, everybody sucks. So, yeah. Steve on the chat, I'm exhausted. Exactly. It's exhausting because, it doesn't have to be this way. Tucker, you can still be a scumbag chickenaire who, I don't know, goes on Dancing with the Stars. But why do you want to poison the country with your filthy racism? Your filthy fascist racism. So forget the protests from sea to shining sea. Not just people with darker pigment. Everything was a riot, right? Buildings burned. Seattle's and this is what they think. These are people that haven't gotten, they won't leave their meth labs, but I'm telling you, they talk about it here. They say, I live in AOC's district. She's my congresswoman, and they on Fox News were just saying that what a shambles this neighborhood is, where AOC's neighborhood is like a smoldering ruin. I live here. It's nice. It's a nice little place to live. Families, parks. Right? I'm sure there are some assholes here. But give me a break. So that's the thing. When you notice Republicans, this is what they do. They were terrified about the Black Lives Matter movement because it wasn't just people with darker pigment. It was everybody. And they had to turn it into riots. So they went out there and they fomented riots. And they were the ones. They love talking about false flags. That's because they engage in them. When all the filthy fascist racists shooting into police stations, justice for George Floyd. That was a racist. That was one of the Proud Boys got arrested. Umbrella Man, another one of these white nationalist pricks, breaking windows. That was, false flag, mother effer. I don't know. Errol Thomas says, are you closer to AOC's home and office? I don't know where she lives. Where the hell I don't know. I live in her district. She's my congresswoman. Oh my. And thank you, Robin M., for your super chat. High five you. Thank you, Robin. I don't know. What is I'm getting very tired right now. I'm like, maybe it's Thom Hartmann is rubbing off. He was tired. He's only human. He might be a prolific writer and such. But, you know, he's only human. I know it was only 5:30 there. But maybe he was sick of talking all day. He was on other shows today, talking about the damn book. Not the damn book, you know what I mean. Talking about his book. I didn't mean to put it like that. Maybe, don't you get tired? I used to do 2 shows. Not this show, I mean, do some comedy. It gets tiring, you know? You can't bring it. You can't constantly bring that level of energy. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I guess it is. Maybe I suck, but oh well. You gotta put up with it, that's all. It's incredible, though. Here, I want to show you a couple of things before because I'm going to go to bed soon. Because the other thing is, I'm going to tell you a story. Well, whatever. Tomorrow, I have to trap a cat tomorrow morning. He did look tired. Thank you, Jim, for validating me. I don't know. I'm very self-conscious. It's not easy being awesome. I'm only kidding. I mean, being me. But I don't know. I feel like every time I do an interview, I'm like, I don't know. I gotta get Mike Malloy on here. He'll be better. He won't be tired. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So you guys know I I volunteer. New York City Feral Cat Initiative. Trap, Neuter, Return. And there's a cat that I believe, don't know 100%, I believe he was dumped. And he's kind of friendly. I haven't been able to pet him. I don't know him that well. Somebody else was the one that introduced me to him. And I think he was dumped because he just acts a little too friendly for a feral cat. So we're going to catch him tomorrow and try to... We'll see if he's friendly. Once we get him in a safe space, and he's very cute. And hopefully he's, you know, he'll tell us what life he wants to live. If he's friendly, we'll find him a home. So I got to get him tomorrow morning. His name is Billy Lily, because we thought he was a girl and we named him Lily. Well, somebody named him Lily. And then he's a boy, so they changed his name to Billy to make him not be confused. And then, but we already had a Billy that we rescued. So we call him Billy Lily. And he's so cute. He's really cute. I'm going to make a video about him. Try to get somebody someone good to adopt him, if he's adoptable. He's a good little Billy Lily. And, yeah. I don't know how people can dump animals. It's really... people suck. That's why. They really do. I'm just looking for him on my phone. I found this. Oh, ow. That's the king. King producer. He doesn't know how good he has it. Where's Billy Lily? Oh, here he is. I'll show you. Let me see. Edit. Boom. Boom. I'm tired. Like Tom. Wait a minute. Everybody's tuning out. Become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Oh, come on, focus. To keep this show going and growing. This is Billy Lily. Wait, hold on. Stupid camera. God damn it. Come on. Why does everything suck? Look at him. Oops. It's not playing. Wait. There we go. Billy Lily. See, I called his name and he came over. That's not what a feral cat will do. And see, he's meowing. He's like, meow, meow. They don't do that. And this is his home. So I was like, where's Billy? Where are you, Billy? There he is. Poor guy, right? Isn't he cute? He's very small. And then he came up. I mean, I only met this cat like 4 times here. That's going on out of focus now. Come on, Billy. Anyway. There you go. Yes, cats only meow for humans. That's right. Yeah, I hope he's friendly. I really do, because it would break my heart. It will break my heart to have to release him. So, alrighty, all right, whatever. I think I'm gonna go lay down. I'm tired. I'm like fading out. So, yeah, I think we'll have a good chance getting him a home. He's cute. He's very cute. He's white with, like you said, black spots, and he's just very small. That's why we thought he was a female. Yeah. I gotta go. I'm tired. I gotta get up early to get Billy Lily a home. Irene just got here. Irene says, oh no, I'm late to the party. Well, you can watch the interview with Thom Hartmann, and then you can tell me what you think about it. This happens every time. Every time Thom is on the show. Either I don't shut up. That was the first time he was on the show. I thought I did better. I wrote down questions. I tried to ask questions. And I waited. But you could tell me, Irene, what you think. If he was a little tired. Or not. Because I think he was. And then I started filling in the gaps, as is my way. Because, it's a talk show. If somebody is not talking, I gotta talk. And then I did say, what do you think? What do you think? All right, whatever. Who cares? I can't keep going over it. I'm gonna have a nightmare about it, probably. In my mind, I always think it's going to be good this time. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Also, the other thing that's annoying me now is the eCam isn't playing movies properly. Hopefully the show doesn't, you got something out of it. That's all I got to say. And I think you did. If I do say so myself. I will answer my own questions. All right, kids, listen up. I'll let you know how it goes with Billy Lilly. Maybe we'll have a show tomorrow. I think I'll probably be a little bit more rested because I have to say I've been not sleeping well. Thank you, Jim. Jim is validating me. Jim says it was good. I thought it was not 100% horrible, but he was tired. Okay, and if I have to say, if he uses that our talking point, we don't leave people behind, I really think it was worth it then, because he talks to the well-known Democrats that have power, and I think that's all we got to do is get the framing out there. And I think we will be less frustrated with Democrats if they use our talking points of leaving no one behind, of unapologetic patriotism, being of progressivism. Progressivism is patriotism. And we don't leave anybody behind. All right. Thank you, Terry. Terry says, "You're wonderful, Terry." I appreciate that, and I think you're wonderful. So thank you. And hopefully we'll see maybe tomorrow night. I gotta stop. I gotta breathe. We will have a show maybe. Because I didn't do a show Monday, Tuesday. See how it goes tomorrow. And then I can report on Billy Lilly. Hopefully Billy Lilly. I hope Billy Lily's good. I have a dream of catching him and then petting him. If that happens, we know he'll have a good home one day. Not this home. If I had a big house, maybe, but no. It's like almost too much with 3 cats in a 1-bedroom apartment. But almost too much. Yeah, it's too much. 3 is enough. I can't. It's a lot of work, you know what I mean? Not that I don't enjoy it. I love them. I love them a lot. But, like I'm telling you right now, I'm going to go lay down. And as soon as I start laying down, I'm going to hear one of the cats are going to use their litter box, and I'm going to have to get up again. I'm not trying to complain, because let me not complain about it. Because I don't want anybody to think that having a pet is a chore. It's not. It's a labor of love. Because they give you so much. Right, Tara Jr.? You're sleeping again. All right. Let me tell you guys. Yes. A big house in Ireland filled with cats. That sounds like a good time. That would be great. I gotta win the lottery. Then we will do it. I'm not kidding either. What's the point? What's the meaning of life? If I win the lottery, big house in Ireland, lots of cats, Tarabuster commune, and everyone's coming. I don't care. If you have any other plans, you better drop them. And then we can all look over the pond and be like, what is wrong with them? Anyway. But we have a lot of work to do. In the meantime, let's stay in reality. All right, I'm tired. I gotta go to bed. But we will win. Yes, we will. We will. I mean, Tom said it too. He was like, the arc of history is long, but it bends towards justice. It's true. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But we will win, hopefully in our lifetime. That's right. Irene says, heaven to me is being surrounded by all my fur babies. From a kid. Yep. Oh. I'm overtired. I can't even tell. I was like, when I was watching Zelensky this morning, I couldn't, I mean, I was just like, ugly crying. All right. We will win because we're on the right side of history. We are on the right side of decency, dignity, and democracy. We stick together. We win. Where's my eCam? Fucking eCam. I think eCam is bugged out. It is. Look, I'm crying. I'm very tired. Boy. I almost cried too. I almost cried like 3 times on the show tonight. I can't talk about cats. I can't talk about Zelensky. Where the fuck is eCam? Maybe it doesn't want me to stop the show. Jesus Christ. Alright, I found it. I think. No, it's not. Okay. I don't have any controls on the eCam. This is weird. I might just have to shut the show down and just say finish without my oh, here it is. Okay. But I don't have any controls. It's weird. Something is wrong. Well, that's not surprising. All right, guys. We are on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, and democracy. We stick together. We win. My name is Tara Devlin, and I'll see you very soon.